Individuals and policymakers face many risks. For example, you might be facing some health risk when a new pandemic comes. There might be a climate change risk. There are some financial stability risks. So there are risks all over the place. And I really analyze what resilience means, and then I apply it to different policy areas. So I apply it to health economics in connection to the pandemic, apply it to financial economics, where resilience of the financial system is very important, apply it to the macroeconomy, to the fiscal situation. The way to approach this risk is not to avoid any risk, because it's impossible to avoid any risk, but to prepare yourself that how you can respond after the shock has occurred. So be able to bounce back after the shock. A nice way to view this, if you look at a reed versus an oak. The reed is constantly bouncing back and forth. It seems very weak, while the oak is very rigid and can withstand almost any storm. But if there's a big hurricane coming, then the reed is still bouncing back while the oak is actually falling over and can't come back up. So it seems that the weaker, the more volatile reed is actually stronger, and that's what resilience is about. It's important to recognize that we cannot really prepare for all the shocks which we might face. And secondly, you should take some risk, because from taking on some risk, you learn from this risk, and that helps you to master a future crisis. But we should avoid the risks which come along with resilience killers. These resilience killers are traps. Once you face a shock, you're trapped, you can't bounce back. Or even worse, if you hit a tipping point. Once you hit the tipping point, you get into an adverse feedback loop, and things get worse and worse, and you want to avoid these adverse feedback loops. The big takeaway of the book is, don't avoid risk. Work on your resilience so you can bounce back after a negative shock.